Hi everyone and welcome. I hope everyone is doing well and everyone's safe. I already posted the link or the document for the second conditional in the classroom A. So if you need to have a conversation, you can find everything else in there. Without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. Perfect. So you should be able to see this. And I'm also live streaming it on Twitch, just for people to have as reference if they miss class. Alright. I hope everyone is doing well. We're going to go ahead and get started on the lesson, so make sure to jump in and watch the live stream. Or not a live stream, on the screen share on Discord. Right. So today's first lesson, we are looking at second conditionals, because last week we reviewed already for first conditionals. We already discussed first conditional is when there's a likelihood of a hypothetical question that's going to happen. So like, for example, if we heat up water, it will boil because there is a very highly possibility of that result taking place. Cool. So now we're going to look into second conditional, which is, I don't think they wrote it there. Second conditional is a hypothetical situation where you don't know if something will happen or not, so you make a guess about what the result might be. So, big hint here, since I think I can use a pen now. This is great. It's just make a guess about what the result might be. There are four conditionals of if. So this lesson will focus on the second conditional, which is known the unreal conditional. So by unreal conditional, this is probably, I don't know why I can't. Okay. I can't do more than 3 or something. That's weird. Sorry. Any case, this is the first time I'm using the pen here in this section. Interesting. All right. So by unreal conditional, you've probably heard the statement very frequently, and it's actually the most common because it's an imaginary statement, as in it's not going to happen, right? So the pattern is if plus past would be plus base verb. And then the use is a second conditional shows unlikely or impossible outcomes, which is the opposite of the first condition, which shows there's a likelihood of something actually going to happen. And it's similar to zero. Zero statement is actually where it's 100% it will happen. So first one, there's a possibility that it will happen. And then the second conditional is there is a likelihood that it will not happen. So that's the difference amongst the three. So tip 1, let me go ahead and read what a comment here. Tristan wrote, my internet's giving me a few issues. I will hop back soon. Good thing this is just review for me. Yep, that's all right. So that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. So tip number 1, the verb is if in the if clause is simple past verb, and the verb in the main clause is would plus base verb of the form, or the base form of the verb. A sentence can begin with either clause with no change in meaning. Remember that a sentence that begins with an if clause is followed by a comma. So if they had more money, comma, they would buy a car. They would buy a car if they had more money. So the rule here still stands with the comma that I pointed out yesterday and perhaps even Monday when we talked about this. Just remember, if the if clause here is here already, remember to put your comma. If it's not at the front, then you don't need it for future notes. All right, so the examples. If we won the lottery, we would travel around the world. So notice that in these sentences, the verbs here are written in past tense. So won, we would travel the world. We would travel around the world if we won the lottery. So, oops, let me erase that. Cool. So now we're looking at the condition. The condition here is winning the lottery. The outcome is traveling around the world, and the explanation is winning the lottery is rare. So this is very unlikely, right? Unless you figure out how to hack the system. So if I had wings, I would fly to Japan. I would fly to Japan if I had wings. So the condition would be having wings. The outcome is flying to Japan, but this is impossible because humans cannot grow wings. So if Lisa lived near the beach, she would learn to surf. Lisa would learn to surf if she lived near the beach. So living near the beach is a condition. The outcome is learning to surf. She doesn't live near the beach now, so this is unlikely. So with this information, what makes this really unique is that you would have to know that Lisa originally doesn't live near the beach. So how you come to this explanation is you have to know beforehand as a fact that she doesn't live near the beach, right? But this is something we would say as well. So like if I were to say, if I lived near Anaheim, for example, I would visit Disneyland more often. But I don't live that close. I don't live in Anaheim. I live in a different city. So it's like it takes 20, 30 minutes for me to get to Disneyland. So this would become a second conditional example. All right. Sentences. Here's more. If I were rich, I wouldn't work anymore. I wouldn't work anymore if I were rich. So condition, being rich, outcome, not working. Explanation, I don't have a lot of money right now, so this is unlikely. So to get to this explanation, please know the fact beforehand. If this is about you, then that'd be even better. But for the person, you should know like the facts about them. My grandparents were young again. If my parents were young again, they would do things differently. My grandparents would do things differently if they were young again. So condition being young again, and the outcome is living life differently. So they can't go back in time, so that is impossible. The next two, if the children had a pool, they would swim every day. The children would swim every day if they had a pool. So condition is if they have a pool, the outcome would be swimming every day, but they don't have a pool, so that is unlikely. If she grew an extra head, she would be twice as smart. She would be twice as smart if she grew an extra head. So growing another head is a condition. Being twice as smart would be the result, but she can't grow another head. That is impossible. Generally speaking, that's impossible. However, there is proof that twins are actually born with two heads. It's a deformation in birth. That goes into more of the science aspect of it, for those who are curious about that. If you guys notice, this last question here, or this last conditional, it can also double up as an idiom. So the idiom is if she could sprout another head, then she could probably be twice as smart. So the statement here. So I guess you could say idiom, I guess you would say, or adage. There's another one that's similar that's called two genius or two brains think alike or something like that. So it's more of a compliment that if you had the ability to expand your knowledge, if there was someone you can share it with, I guess you could say. So this could possibly work as an idiom or an adage, whatever. I'd have to double check that because adages and idioms, they throw me off a lot. And I already answered to someone that idioms are phrases that are not meant to be taken literally. They're figurative statements, whereas adages are one of these traditional sayings. I guess it's like a quote, like, if you love someone, let them go. And then if they love you back, they'll come back to you. So those are the differences between those two. So Tristan is saying expression is great minds think alike. Isn't that like I feel like that's an idiom. Yeah. And I think you corrected me for what I said earlier because it's been a while since I've heard that statement with friends. I mean, it's been COVID, so I'm starting to lose my own head. Yeah, it's just an expression. So tip number 2. Yeah, idioms give me headaches too, don't worry. They're like metaphors for something. So tip number 2. The be verb in conditional sentences is always were, not was, for all subjects. Some people choose to ignore this rule, but it's best to follow it. If I were a dog, I would lie around in the sun all day. If Juan were an astronaut, he would fly to the moon. So, I talked about this before on a previous lesson. If you come across a word with I and you say was, oops, if I can write it. Hello, I don't know why they're morphing the words, and it's really, really weird how they do that. Excuse me, that's weird. So if you type in the word I was, if I was younger, blah, 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 it'd be acceptable. So let me explain this for you guys. Tip number 2, they say it's always were, but I stand against it because there's a reason behind it. There was a study before given that if you say if I was any younger, I'd probably find myself a really good situation in life right now. For example, it would be acceptable if you say if I was. Why would you say that? Because it's modernized. You're following the grammar rule in the modern time. However, to say if I were, the word were after I already indicates that it is a second conditional. However, this is more honoring the grammarist's perspective of using if I were, right? Because if you notice, if I were is kind of abnormal, you would say, in a grammatical sentence or stance, because it contradicts the rule. But this is to honor the past, because in the olden days, they use if I were as a statement. That's why they're trying to maintain that tradition to this day by saying if I were triggers conditional, second conditional. But if you choose to say if I was, you're totally fine. But what you're doing is that you are choosing to honor more the modern versus honoring the past of the origins. So for them to say that the sentence is always were, not was, that can be debatable, I would say. Because I hear people say if I was, and also I heard people say if I were. So this is subject to debate. I would say personally, I accept both. Only if you say the word I. If you cannot say if Han was an astronaut, it only has to be I. Okay, cool. So tip number 3, I would can contract to apostrophe D with subjects that are pronouns. Would not can contract to wouldn't with any subject. So if the clerk were taller, she'd be able to reach the top shelf. If my coworker inherited a lot of money, he probably wouldn't work here anymore. Would be contract to wouldn't in any subject. So would can contract to, yep, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So would not, wouldn't, that's review. And then of course apostrophe D, she'd, would represent for she would. Tip 4, could plus base verb can be used in place of verb past verb, or would plus base verb to indicate ability or possibility. If I could ski, I would buy a season's pass at my local mountain. If I didn't have to babysit tonight, I could go to Marco's party. So, if you guys remember my lessons, or well, this was a different lesson, but I'm also going to regurgitate this later. We will revisit modals. So modal words are auxiliary words before the main verb itself. So words like would, could, I don't know if be is considered a modal. But these are modal verbs that shows that you have the ability to do something. It shows the willingness to do something, or how you are forced to do something, or like it's mandatory to do something. Not really forced to, but it's mandatory because there's a greater consequence if you don't do it. So seeing these here, it's telling me if I could ski, this would be a modal. But it's also granting second condition. So you're seeing a lot of grammars overlapping with one another. Yes. Thank you, Ari, for pointing it out. Be isn't considered a modal. So Ari, I have a question. If I take a test on proficiency, TOEFL for example, it would be more acceptable if I chose, I don't know if it is a right conjugation, the were for I. So I think it differentiates for each location, because if I were you, see, notice I said that, if I were you, I would ask the teacher there, because they are the ones teaching. That's basically what's going to be shown on the exam, and they know better, because in each company, there's everyone is different, right? So you're basically catering to whatever business you're going to. So if they say if I were is the answer and not if I was, then listen to them. But for me personally, since I'm addressing it as overall, my perspective on this is if I was is acceptable, but it's more pertaining to modern grammar. And if I were is addressing to the 1800, literature of grammar. Does that make sense? So technically, you have to cater yourself to answer if I were, or if I was, because it depends on the company which one they would choose. Okay, so the next one is the conjugation. I meant it for the chose. I don't know if it's chose or chose. You mean choose? Chooses in present tense with CHOOSE. Chose is past tense.
Yeah, I mean it like chose or choose.
Right. So if I say I chose you, that means past tense. I chose you, right? I picked you. But if I say I choose you, that's present tense. So yeah, no problem. So I think what would happen is if you kind of pay attention to here, could plus base verb, and I'm going to go back up and show it to you. Your base verb is going to be your main verb, right? Past tense would be would, could, whatever. So if I say the word like what Ari was asking when you say choose, the base verb is choose. And I don't know why it has a really weird, I have to like, do you guys see this? This is weird. It's wiggling. It's making me laugh. What is this? The rendering is so weird. So the base verb would be choose. So I would choose you if I could go back in time. That sounds like a breakup story, like regretting their decision. I would choose you if I had the chance, or I chose you in the past, whatever. So as you notice, what happens is the past, the verb in front of here for the second conditional, this is your modal verb, right? So this one's also AKA, I hate this. What is this? Modal. I have to write slower for this because the rendering is so bad. It's your modal verb or your auxiliary, for those who know what these are. Period. So the auxiliary / modal verb will be in past tense, whereas your base verb, also known as your main verb, it will be in present tense. Right? Okay, Tristan. In my opinion, I would say, in my opinion, I would always lean towards a formal were rather than the casual was. If I were to choose, why does it snap? Oh yeah, so if I were to choose, right. So you actually brought up an interesting topic, so thank you. To say if I were, that actually indicates more formal. And then to use if I was, that would be informal. So that's also another reason why people use that. So depending on who you talk to, you would say if I was or if I were. So subconsciously, when I talk to my friends, I actually say if I was. And since I'm teaching in class, I actually say if I were, because for some reason my brain already dictates that me teaching to you is a formal situation. So that's another reason. So formality is one, the register, formal, informal. And the other one is who are you kind of like respecting more? Are you addressing the past tense where it's all grammarists are saying if I were? Would be honoring the 18th century. I'm just saying 18th century because I actually don't remember. I don't remember if it's 18th or 19th century, to be honest. Old in English, or you're pertaining more towards modern English, which is using was. So I think people have become a little bit more flexible in understanding this, but this document is saying, no, you stay to if I were. And also, it depends also with Ari's question, which is perfect. If you're taking the TOEFL and you're asking, is it if I were or if I was, ask your proctor first, or actually, no, don't talk to the proctor during the exam. Ask them before you take the exam to double check which one would the TOEFL company prefer you to say, you know? But for me, I'm saying both are applicable in real life situation. For them, they're telling you which one has to be the correct answer, right? And then Tristan, why does it snap? I think you're talking about the ink. I have no idea. So I think they just need to work on it more. So it's not, oh, was that fluid? Oh, snap. Okay. I don't know. It's just acting weird. Maybe it's rendering. Probably that's why it's acting up. And then Ari, yes, I get it. Proficiency tests are about prescriptive grammar. So it's better to stick to the were. That could be it, yeah. And it also could be just because you're honoring TOEFL exams, I don't know because I never took it. So if someone can tell me their experience firsthand. Are they mainly looking at are they mainly looking at formal languages in English, or is it informal? Or is it a mix of both? That's the question you should be answering. So that's that. So Makana said, is it natural to you to change this when you were talking? I would say yes. There's a lot of in conversation English, there's a time and place where you should behave formally, and there's a time and place to act informally. So for example, my class here with you guys is a way formal because I'm teaching you a lesson, but at the same time, I switch to informal because I'm also trying to approach you guys in a very casual way. So that's why a lot of my register when I'm speaking to you switches between the two, right? But if I didn't know you and let's say you guys are just my students and I don't want to connect to you in that way, I'd probably reinforce the way I speak to be more formal than informal, right? Okay. Right. So going into detail, Makana said, as she said, when she's teaching, she says were, but with French, she says was. I asked if this is natural for her to change between the two. Yes. I would say subconsciously, yes. I don't really think about it. Sometimes it's interchange. I might even say if I were to my friends subconsciously, but I do catch myself saying was more because it's informal situation, right? But I can always flip-flop between the two. So if I were to say on a normal basis, it'd be 50-50. But if I was in a... See, look what I just said. But if I was in a formal situation, you heard me, I flip-flopped just now. If I were in a normal situation, then I would use were. But in either cases, people argue about if I was or if I were are correct or incorrect. The actual story behind it is based on registry. So registry means, is it informal or is it formal? And it's also based on, do you want to look at the grammar origins? Do you want to honor that if I were is the origin of this second conditional, whereas the second one is if I was is pertaining to modern English for today. So those are the two things you should keep in consideration when you're using if I were or if I was. I'm pretty sure if I go back and listen to myself speak like this, you're going to catch me say if I were or if I was more often. So it really is a 50-50. Oops. I'm going to grab myself something to drink while you guys are typing. Don't worry about John. Glad to have you. I was also doing homework before this class. I learned listening, watching, and reading, so I thought that you could choose anyone to say, but now I got it. That's awesome. I'm glad that you got to figure out which one to use, Makana. Because honestly, even me as a native speaker, half of this crap I have no idea where I learned it from. It's just from interacting with people, so I develop my language around them too, in a way. So I guess that's why they don't really reinforce teaching English as a language as much when I was growing up. Not unless because I started as an ESL student, but later down the line, it was just English. And the way I best describe English in America is analyzing English books and analyzing how words are being put together, what meaning is getting out of that phrase, etc. So advanced English level crap, where you have to really be nitpicky in understanding the connotation, denotation, and message of each words. But I digress. All right, cool. So Tristan said it's perfectly fine. Glad you could make it when you did. Makana, and Brazilian Portuguese, we do a lot of it, so I can understand. Yeah, I get you. And Tristan, I understand, Hannah. Being a native speaker and forced into 12 years, you forgot where you learned stuff. It just happened. Yeah, exactly. Because you're just well in tuned with the language, and since you speak it majority of your livelihood, you just don't think about it anymore. So when people ask you, why is it said like this? It really catches people off guard. All right, cool. So I wanted to make sure I explained everything for everyone. Is there any other questions before we go ahead and do exercise 1? Awesome. I feel you, Tristan. Yeah, when you learn your own language, your native tongue, as a linguist, from a linguistic aspect, it becomes very interesting because you start to think, oh, I never knew grammar was used in that direction, you know? Okay, so question for this, what is the formula? Right, so for second conditional, your formula will be listed up here. So scroll all the way to page 2, I think. No, not this one. Page 2. So your formula will be this one, the pattern. The formula is if plus the past tense of would, could, should, chose. Actually, I don't think chose is not an auxiliary, sorry. So would, could, should, must. I don't know if must would be used. No. Must cannot be used because this is an impossible or unlikely situation. So it's all imaginary. So you can use would, should, could. I think is the top 3 I would see. Yeah, so I would. If I were, wouldn't, would. And then they also have wouldn't, were. Okay, so these are the 3 verbs I see is be. So be past tense, if this would work. Oops. So be. These rendering is throwing me off. Would and could. So it's these ones, and then let me get the formula again. So if plus whatever of those 3 right here, plus base verb. And my handwriting is terrible because the rendering is bad. Sorry, guys. So base verb. So if plus whatever there plus base verb. So, but you need to remember, second conditional means there's a very unlikely chance that this will happen. Right? Okay, Tristan's funny. The one-time MS Paint is better. Trust me, yeah, it's much better. I actually used MS Paint to teach before, when I streamed on Twitch back then. It flowed much better. Don't worry, mine is worse in real life too. I envy you, Tristan. Oh my god, like you should do all the calligraphy work for this program. Like if we ever need to do a cursive, we'll just come to you and be like, Tristan, do it. We need your handwriting. Mine is not the best. It's chicken scratch. That's the best I can say. My handwriting switches between print and also cursive. So I like to throw both. I just gave up some years ago in handwriting. Oh, I feel that. Do impressive print. I should give you guys a sample of my handwriting just so you could see. I actually need to write stuff at the moment too. All right, so here's my question for you guys. Do you guys enjoy doing all of the exercises or do you prefer that I'm selective? Because if I do all of them, I learned that I can split it into 2 days where you're working on the same lesson for 2 days straight, or I can be selective and we can move on to another lesson the following class. So that's my question for you guys. Okay, so Makana said, I guess it's faster if you select the ones you do. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, Tristan, you don't have a voice to say it because you're native. You're here to observe. If I think about it, Tristan can technically be a TA. He's a teacher's aide. I should give you that role as well too, huh? Tristan can be the teacher aide. Oh yeah, let's do it. So, you have to make a commitment to show up to all of my classes and probably Brittany's too. Then you're the TA. Yes, become a TA. That'd be fun. Okay. So we have Jean saying that. So we have Jean and Makana saying it's faster to select the ones you do. Selective is also better for Jean as well. Ari thinks having 2 lessons the same week helps practice more. Yep. Exactly, Tristan. I get you. Don't worry, I know what you're talking about. Let's see. I think let's practice more. Okay. So how about this, since we're compromising in the middle? Because I know some of you guys prefer that I teach more lessons as well. I could possibly prepare. Let's see how. Let's do this. I will be selective of the lessons, but by the next lesson that I host, you guys have to have completed everything on this. I will be giving you guys the answers and going down all of them, right? So during my lessons, I'll select a few. And then what I will do next is give you guys the assignment to do exercise. Like, I'm also nitpicking through some of them too. So for our lesson, we will do, let me see, there's so many of them. We can do exercise 1, exercise 2, 3, and 4. Actually, comprehension's a good one too. These are really good because I know it takes a while for everyone to sit down and just do 2 or 3. So I might select and be very picky and do 3, I guess. So I guess we'll select 3. I'll do exercise 1 first for you guys. And then I'll also select, I like a fill in the blank one. It's a good opportunity. We'll do exercise 2. Actually, no, we'll skip exercise 2. Sentence in your own words. Let's do exercise 4. So, for our lesson today, exercise 1, 4, and do one more. Exercise 5. Okay, so we'll only do 3 of them because I know they take around like 10-15 minutes per question. I mean, not per question, just for waiting for everyone to fill it in and give the answer. And then for you guys who are interested to learn more about and reinforce your learning for second conditional, you can go ahead and do all of them, turn it into me, or like post it under, where should I have you guys post it? Should there be a homework section, you guys? Do you think I should do a homework section? And then if available, I can have me, Brittany, and Tristan check it for you, just to show that you guys are getting it. Yeah. Ooh, I should name it extra credit, right? Okay, I can go ahead and do that. You guys are great. I love you guys. I love you guys for like always adding ideas as well. That would be great. Yeah. Okay, I'll make a new group on free materials and I will dub it the extra credit section. So if you want to submit your homework, it will always be there. So the educators, so we got me, Brittany, and Tristan will be checking it for the answer key. And of course, Tristan, I need to give you the key to have the answer keys so that you'll be able to grade them and make sure that it's good. And if you guys have questions, you are more than welcome to post them under English questions. So if you have a question about your assignment, you can post it there. And then the 3 of us will hopefully come around and answer them for you. That'll be a good idea. You guys are awesome. I love it. It's all right. So while I go ahead and do that right now and explain that in the announcement page, you guys go ahead and do exercise 1. Unfortunately, I don't think I can make the screen any bigger. What is this? Full page? Yeah, like it destroys the quality if I do full page. I'll do full width. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So you guys will be doing exercise 1 exercise number 1, which is number 1 through 10. So go ahead and post your answers in the classroom A, and then I will grade it with you guys while I go ahead and make my room. Or decide the percentage there. So what do you mean by... Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can do that. It's just I don't want it to look like this because it might... I wouldn't recommend it for people who can't see this. It looks like you have to really like squint your eyes just to see what they're saying. It's just bad quality. That's all I'm saying. So just refer to the document I provided you guys. I think that's it, right? Yeah. I'm being on mobile. Oh, I see. Yeah. Imagine being on mobile. Yeah, dude, if you were on your mobile device, this would be hell for you. So go ahead, post your answers. I will open and check them. And then I'll go ahead and create the classroom under free materials. Dang, Makana, the heck? You have like 3 monitors on or something? That's insane. I love it. Like, you're doing an excellent job. You put me to shame. I'll show you, I'll screen share mine so you guys can see this. Oh, you have just one? I have 2 monitors. It looks like you had 3 screens. So I have 2 monitors. One screen is splitting the Discord and then the answer key. And then my second monitor is the one streaming the screenshot that you guys are seeing. John 50/50. Are you using your phone? That's insane. Wow. Wow. Clap. Okay, Ari, let's check out your answers. Scrolling down. Okay. According to the answer key, it looks like you have 2 errors, Ari. So the error is number 7 and number 10. Yeah, 7 and 10 are incorrect. So let me respond. Oh, so you just changed between screens. I feel that. And a newer one to watch Discord. That's crazy. So Ari already submitted her answers and it was... It's 145? Yes. So what I'm saying is, Tristan, let me explain to you. I'm talking about exercise 1, exercise 4, and exercise 5. So you're answering all the questions on exercise 1. Then you're going to move on and do exercise 4 and answer all of that. And then exercise 5, answer all of that. That's what I mean by selective. We're still going to go through it. Oh yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
It was 7 and 10, right?
Yes, 7 and 10 have different answers, Ari. So, I'm gonna double check it too, just to make sure why they decided that as the answer. Yeah, I can see why 7 is a different answer, and 10. Yeah, I can see why 10 is also incorrect for you, so I'll explain that later. But yeah, from these answers, I can validate that 7 and 10 are incorrect for you, Ari. So let's see Makana's answers. Would it be easier if I just use stickers to tell you which numbers are incorrect? Because you just gave me a beautiful idea. Thank you, Ari. Or like, who marked that up? Yeah, Ari reacted 7 and 10. Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, I think that it only gets to till 10. So if we have like exercise 15, it will be
like, oh yeah, we're screwed. We get there, we're screwed. We probably need to incorporate new emojis just to put numbers, more numbers. Stop at 50. We're not going to go over 50. That's crazy. Let me go ahead and see this. Okay. Okay, so Makana also 2, 2 and 8. I really like the stickers there. Can someone send the images as a screenshot? Hard to see without zooming features. Yeah, 7 is missed at the past. Let me try to grab it for you. Hold on a second. Tristan. I got you, Tristan. So this is exercise 1. This should be good enough. That's for Tristan. Hopefully that's close enough. 7 is missed the past. 10 with my answer was a double negative. Also doesn't make any sense. Right, yeah. So 7, you needed a past tense verb because they moved if to the back, right? You still need the past tense verb. And then 10 with my answer was a double negative. Also doesn't make any sense. Yep, so double negative doesn't really work there. Let's see Jean's answer. Okay, awesome, Jean. Perfect score. Good job. Yeah, the double negative. Why is 8 wrong? So what did you put for 8? It's Makana, you got 8 wrong because you put 8A, right? So 8A. Oh, because remember what I said earlier about wasn't, was, and were? It also applies for negative too. So the rule would be here. Let's get closer to the screen. Remember what they said about were? And what I explained to you guys? The only time you use was if there was I. Everything else has to be were. So that's why 8 was incorrect. Yeah. See, the thing is, I got a lot of C's, so let me see. I'll explain it to you again. So the reason for 8, because remember there's a rule here. In conditional sentences, it's gonna always be were. It doesn't matter that it's one singular noun, because your grammar that you learned English, you want to use was whenever there's a singular noun, right? But because this is specifically conditional, you have to use were for everything. So notice Juan here. It's one person. It's one subject. But they still use were. It still applies because they use the word she. So, right? There's only one person, one pronoun, one person. That's why the answer is weren't, not wasn't. Because it's the conditional rule. But the only time you use was is if it's I. And that's only and only if your teacher is comfortable and knows the fact that I was is used in modern times and I were is honoring the 18th century English. Also, it covers for formality for those two. So that's why. Okay. I hope I answered your question, Makana. For Tristan... Makana. Okay, got it. I guess. That's my question too. When I first read it, I was like, huh? Okay, you're the expert. I guess that's okay. So ever since I researched that, I was like, okay, whatever. I'll accept it. That's a theory. Okay, I'll take it. So Tristan, you did... Let me see. You got your thinking. This is gonna shock you a lot. So let's see. Where's more reaction? Oops. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, sorry, yeah, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So Tristan, it's shocking you. You missed 2, 3, 4, and 6, and 8. There's a lot of C's. So I just realized okay, so what John said, I just realized that I should use were instead of was when I saw the 9 alternatives. LOL. Yeah, 9 is very tricky. Let me see where else. So 9. Well, the answer for 9 is weren't. Yeah. Wait, in my head that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, got it, I guess. Oh, for 2, I read will instead of would. I understand my mistake. Good. In 2, both A and B seem correct for me. So number 2. If he did his homework every day, he would get better marks. Yeah, and if he does his homework every day. So, yes, they're both correct because let me dissect this for you. So good question, Makana. If you say if he did his homework every day, he would get better marks. By using the word did here, you're telling me that this is becoming a hypothetical question, that it becomes a second conditional. So if he did his homework, he would have gotten better marks, for example. This one does, if you use present tense, it becomes more of a statement. If he does his homework every day, he would get better marks. So this is more of a statement that rather than hypothetical. So do you understand the semantic value behind these? Yeah. So this is going to throw you over, flip the table, whatever. That's how I feel too. You got it for sure this time. Awesome. Yeah, so this applies behind word choices. So if you know the grammatical value, it will explain why both of these are correct. But what we're looking between these two answers is which one's conditional, right? So you will come across a lot of questions if they're tricking you. Which of these verbs is the correct one to indicate a second conditional? The answer here would be A. Cool. Oh wow, my brain isn't here. I don't guess. First test, I think I failed. 8 still doesn't read right in my head. Does it have a future tense? I'm so stupid. I completely forgot the lesson here. It's okay, don't worry. Yeah, so to get yourself to be in this zone where you need to remember second conditional is using past tense verbs, and then the base verb will be present tense. But yes, it's tricking you. I wasn't trying to make it all hypothetical. I was making it be the same. Exactly. So you need to remember you're coming from a place that this is second conditional application, not grammar application. Because without following the second conditional's rule, which is using past tense for their verbs, then of course you're not gonna get it. Yeah. I wasn't trying to. Okay, cool. So making sure I got everyone's question. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the answers. Number 1, if I were hungry, I would make a sandwich, which is C. 2, 2 is A. If he did his homework every day, he would get better marks. 3 is B. If our partners were here, they would tell us what to do. 4 is B. I would help her if she asks me. 5 is C. If my brother found a $20 bill on the street, he would keep it, which is C. All right. 6 is B. I would come to your party on Saturday if I didn't have to work. 7 is A. I would call them if I knew their telephone number. 8 is C. If she wouldn't fall asleep in class, if she weren't so tired. Number 9 is A. If my friend weren't so busy, he would have time to hang out with me. And 10 is A. If I didn't have to go out tonight, I could relax at home. Yeah. So I wasn't trying to make... Okay, so Tristan said, a native speaker failed the test. Hannah, I put 4C. You said it was wrong. Oh, if I put 4 as incorrect, sorry. I probably pressed the wrong button. I'm sorry. So you got 4s, right? Then, my bad. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I make mistakes. I deleted a lot of things. I'm sorry. What did I even do? Okay, that's it. So 4... Oh, you said 4 is C. You put C. No, I think I was right then. So thank you. I'm double checking. So 4, the actual answer is B. I would help if she asked me. I think I said asks me. I was also thinking unintentionally and also subconsciously like Tristan. So the answer is actually 4 is B, not C. Because remember, past tense, the verb has to be past tense. I would help her if she asked me. So it has to be past tense. To maintain the second condition rule, basically. Yeah. Y'all, I'm getting thrown over here, like throwing hands right now. All right, so we have one more exercise that we can do. We have 4 minutes, so I guess what I would do now, since I realized 2 or 3 exercises should be more than enough per lesson, so I'll stick to 2 or 3. We will skip number 4 because I would need a lot of time for you guys to write this within 4 minutes. And in 4 minutes is game show night, so I'll just skip and do number 5. Just give me whether it's... Actually, no, never mind, screw it. Just do number 4. Number 5 looks like it's more thinking behind it too, because you're saying yes, no, whatever. So just do exercise 4. I'll add number 5 to become your extra credit as well because we don't have the time to do it in class today. And then on Monday, we will review your answers, or actually just submit it under the extra credit. I'll give the answers on Monday, and then we will start our new lesson on Monday. Does that work for everyone? Is that okay? Subconsciously, most people completely forget this rule. I had to ask what it was before I even decided to attend class. Yeah, that's okay. Natives are not like, we're not walking dictionaries. We're not supposed to know like all the grammar rules unless it's like your specified field. So it's okay if you don't know it. Yeah, it's all right. So reiterating to everyone, just do exercise 4. Exercise 5 will be part of your extra credit. So if you guys want to do all of the exercises, you're more than welcome to and submit it in the extra credit under the free material. So now we have a classroom for it. So extra credit. That's where you can put your homework. Tristan, Mia, and Brittany will go around and check your homework when we have the chance to before class time. And I think that should be it. And then we should have game host night at 9 p.m. or like in 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, Ari. So as far as I know, number 4 can vary in answers. So you don't have to have the same answer. I just need to double check you did it correctly. So I'm checking Ari's. Oh, Ari accidentally forgot to put spoiler on it. Thank you. So let me check your answer. If I only had 1 month to live, I would travel around the world. If I had some free time. If I had some free time, I would learn more languages. 2, I would move to a bigger apartment. If I could afford it, yep. 3, if I had a bike, I would go everywhere on it. I would walk to school every day. If it were closer to my house, I would go to the doctor. If the corona, don't forget number 5, put the coronavirus didn't exist. Didn't exist. Yeah, that's fine. If I had a roommate, I would invite him or her to the English promenade to study. Oh, how sweet. If I knew his phone number, I would invite him on a date. Yes, go for it. If I were taller, I would audition to become a model. Excellent job. That's a perfect score, Ari. So everything was used properly. I was looking at your grammar. Just remember to put in coronavirus, you should put the at the front. If the coronavirus didn't exist, yeah. I think we use the before it a lot too. If I had free time, I would gain another hobby. I would move to a bigger apartment if I would get a raise. I am only doing 2. That's fine, Tristan. It's okay. It's just it takes time because coronavirus is technically a new word that came about this year. So the question of the day would be, does it need the at the front or it doesn't? But as far as I've been reading and exposed to it, they put the at the front. Because there's different types of coronavirus, I think. I don't know. There's like a type 1 or something. I don't know. Some researchers were establishing that there's different types. I would gain another hobby. Yeah, that's fine. I would get a raise. So that's fine, Tristan. Excellent. Makana, I would spend it. Okay, if I had some free time, I would spend it doing nothing. 2, I would move to a bigger apartment if I had more money. 3, if I had a bike, I would sell it. 4, I would walk to school every day if I lived near the school. 5, I would go to the doctor if I were sick. 6, if I had a roommate, I would kick him out. 7, if I knew his phone number, I would call him. 8, if I knew his phone. 8, if I were taller, I would play more basketball. Not sure if the grammar is that correct. Yeah, everything was done right. Like following the conditional rule, it was excellent. SARS is a type of coronavirus too. Exactly. So thank you, Makana, for clarifying that. See, that's why we have a coronavirus and we have SARS. So 2 types of coronavirus. Be cautious, Ari. Even though coronavirus has an S at the end, it's still singular. So the verb doesn't need an S at the end. Exists, not exists. So puede dice exist y no exists. I love the fact that you're using Spanish. I actually understood what you said too, by the way. Yay! All right. With all of this said and done, thank you so much, everyone, for participating in class, asking questions. I really enjoyed today's class time too. So if you have any other questions, you're welcome to post it. Post your questions under the English. Where is the list for it? Put it under English questions. So questions. And I'll grade Jean quickly. English questions. Homework submission. Only. Oh, this one's going to be under extra credit. And then discussions can take place in global. Okay, so I indicated the 3 just to help you guys see it. If you have questions, English questions, and I'll provide the answers. Tristan or Brittany can also provide. Homework submissions only, please, for the extra credit. Don't start a conversation there because it just helps to see people, see their grades, and etc. And we'll also post a score. I don't think we'll give you an overall score, but we'll post your questions, or we might give you a response like, I don't know if you guys prefer that I send it to you DM, like privately, where you guys receive the grades as well. So like I mark up your paper, etc., tell you what you did. And then you can post your questions. You can discuss it with me, either DMs or in global chat. And as always, if you have any other questions, English questions, and then I'll answer questions there. So let me answer Jean's questions first, and we can do our game night. And don't worry, I'll extend it to 10:05. So number 1, if I had some free time, I would play games. 2, I would move to a bigger apartment if I had money. 3, if I had a bike, I would ride it. 4, I would walk to school every day if it were closer to my house. 5, if I would go to the doctor if I was sick. 6, if I had a roommate, I would talk with him or her. 7, if I knew his phone number, I would be able to call him. And 8, if I were taller, I would play basketball. Excellent. So that's a perfect score too, Jean. So you've proven to me that you know how to use conditionals, or second conditional. And you're very welcome, Makana. I enjoyed teaching you guys. It's really fun to teach something that I'm interested in, that you guys love to learn from. All right. So with all that being said and done, if you have questions, English questions, chat, submission for homework, extra credit, discussions about anything, about the homework or other things, global chat. And if you guys are interested to play games, meet me in the Gaming Center voice channel, and we will talk about the games inside the Game Room channel. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a game. If you guys are interested, you can spread word. We're playing Jackbox today, so we're going to do some interesting games, and then we'll go about with it today in the Gaming Center. Yeah, take your time. Honestly, yeah, take your time.
No. I want to talk to you for 1 minute.
Okay, I'll talk to you in a minute then. All right then. So everyone else, I'll meet you there in a bit. Take care. And then Makana has a question. Who said about learning a programming language? Was it you who said about learning a programming language? I think I did say in a different channel about that. It's really cool to learn programming in a different language. Yeah, and then Tristan says Jackbox games. But you guys will have fun, yeah. So, I'll see you guys there.